Hey everyone, and welcome to Video Game Book Club. I'm Clay, and that is Daniel. We are finally going to do our Earthbound video that we have been promised.
Hey, this
What?
This doesn't feel right.
What doesn't? This?
Yeah.
I think you're right.
On the count of three?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Whew, that is a lot better.
Yeah. Welcome to our first episode of Video Game Book Club.
In this episode, we're going to cover a game that neither of us have played before, and that is Earthbound on the Super Nintendo.
This cult classic, released in 1995 in North America, has been reviewed and praised throughout YouTube, to where most of you all will be familiar with its history and notable creator.
And if not, go ahead and check out starmen.net, a fan resource that is the leading source for all things Earth and Bound.
Instead of going over its history, let's dig right into this colorful masterpiece, one fuzzy pickle at a time. When you first start up Earthbound, you're presented with an eerie-sounding intro featuring a scene straight out of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds. While normally you would expect the game's opening sequence to set the tone for the adventure ahead, Earthbound, while being an accurate depiction of a possible future if Ness should fail in his quest, is tonally removed from the actual presentation of the game. Earthbound's art style is closer to a master class in the use of Crayola crayons than the traditional sprite work of, say, Final Fantasy VI or the pre-rendered 3D effects of Donkey Kong Country. The beauty and simplicity of the art style thrives with an oblique perspective, which truly gives life to the towns and cities you visit throughout the game. Few games of the era can match this feeling, which Earthbound pulls off so well, you might think this is how it's always been and always will be. Enemy sprites within battle are as detailed and zany as the rest of the game. From spiteful crows, piles of vomit, mad taxis, and even angry hippies, it's more likely you'll get bored of the front-facing battle system than the designs of your foes. I've always hated front-facing battle systems. For me, it takes me out of the game, because I want to see my characters. I want to see Ness swing his bat. I want to see Jeff shoot off fireworks at a pile of vomit. I want to see Pooh attack with a weapon for the first time, when I finally earn the Sword of Kings.
It is so dumb.
Thanks, Clay. I truly appreciate that well thought out response.
Yeah, man. No problem. I do what I can. Earthbound's music fits so well with whatever is happening on screen and never takes you out of the experience. From the jazz music of the Runaway Five to the psychedelic new age theme from Moonside, the score is well placed and extremely fitting. Like most games of the time, Earthbound's soundtrack borrows heavily from popular music. From battle themes lifting heavily from songs such as Johnny Be Good, and Tequila, to several songs consisting of slowed down Beatles favorites. Musical influences show throughout the entirety of the soundtrack. But let's not forget that even Square, who is the pinnacle of JRPG goodness in the 90s, is guilty of letting their influence show and rickrolling their audience before it was cool.
Gameplay-wise, Earthbound plays like most other JRPGs of the time. Go to a new town, go to a new dungeon, fight boss, wash and repeat. While neither of us are fans of the front-facing battle system, the method that you get into battles is definitely near the top of our long list of favorite design choices. Instead of walking through a clear valley without a care in the world, and suddenly, without warning, being accosted by a horde of monsters, in Earthbound, you walk through a valley littered with creatures that want to murder you and devour your soul. And when you initiate combat with one enemy, any others that can reach you in time will gang up on you as well. You can help mitigate this by surprising the enemies and attacking from the rear. You'll know you've done this right when you initiate combat and the screen turns green. The player then gets a free turn to destroy his foes who never even saw it coming. You'll know something has gone horribly wrong when the screen turns red and all the enemies who join the nest killing crusade get a turn before Paula has a chance for her prayers to go unanswered because you didn't care enough for our sprite-based heroes.
I really like that if you initiate combat with a monster that is much weaker than you, the fight ends automatically and you still get experience and possibly even item drops.
I especially enjoy chasing down low-powered enemies as they run with their little tails between their legs, and I destroy them for having the audacity of wandering into my eyesight.
I totally meant because it was a great time saver, but that works too. Much of the game's quests initially feel like standard fetch quests that every JRPG relies on to pad the length of the game, but these quests wrapped inside of Earthbound's phenomenal story take on a life of their own. While rescuing a girl is something we've done thousands of times in Mario and many other titles, when we are sent to save Paula, the game still feels fresh and enjoyable. This isn't just some damsel in distress, this is one of the chosen ones BuzzBuzz told you about. A fellow psychic that will aid us on our quest to squash Gygus and his legion of minions. The first large chunk of the game isn't just about getting the musical tones to defeat Gygus, but gathering our 4 heroes before it's too late. Gygus has sent monsters to protect the sanctuaries where the tones are located, and you must not only travel through harsh climates like caves and deserts to get them, but you must also then defeat the champions of destruction who await you.
While this is all very stereotypical of the genre, it's the parts that push away from traditional tropes that really pull you in. You have great scenes that involve such musical talents as the Blues Brothers. I mean, the Runaway Five. And don't forget about the mariachi band that takes place of a slot machine, where you can bet your hard-earned allowance. I had actually tried to play this game once or twice in the past, but I never felt pulled to get much further than the initial 30 minutes or so. Playing through the opening where Ness, Pokey, and Ness's dog King go out in the middle of the night to investigate a recently fallen meteor just didn't initially grab my attention like invading the town of Narsh did in Final Fantasy VI, or stealing the water crystal from Mystia alongside my trusty Red Wings in 4. However, once I played to On It, Earthbound grabbed me and never let go.
Running into the sharks and the gang's leader Frank, as well as some questionable cops in On It, helped the town and the game solidify my interests and made me want to continue to explore the world of Earthbound. Exploring the hostile sharks' hideout in On It arcade and defeating their leader was a nice early challenge and rewarding once complete, since the sharks are no longer hostile toward you once you've proven to be their leaders better. After visiting Giant Step and defeating your first sanctuary boss, the Titanic Ant, you're ordered by a police officer to head to the police station and talk with the captain. This was another moment in On It that really showed how the story and setting of Earthbound was different than other JRPGs of the time. Instead of the police helping you out on your journey, you're taken into a room so that the police can literally beat some sense into you. You have to fight 4 cops while the 5th runs away before you fight Captain Strong himself. This moment, as well as the Happy cultists, are 2 of many that can be found in Earthbound that parallel real-life events that happened in the years leading up to Earthbound's release.
For years I've been aware of the absurd-looking Mr. Saturn through throwing his misshapen body at foes in Super Smash Bros., but not until visiting them in their native home of Saturn Valley did I understand the uniqueness and thorough insanity of their existence. Saturn Valley is an area that gets visited early on in your adventure, and again later, right before you go to face off with Gygus. Let's talk about the lead up to going to the Gygus fight for a second. To be able to reach the final lair of the Big Bad, you must use a ship that can move through both time and space. Unfortunately, there is a major drawback to this mode of transportation. All living matter is destroyed in the process. But what of our heroes? How can Ness, Paula, Jeff, and Pooh defeat their ultimate adversary if living things can't even travel to his location? Your soul, the thing that makes your characters who they are, must be transferred into robot bodies, destroying your natural bodies in the process. This was a serious WTF moment in the game. Going into a final boss with the possibility of having to sacrifice your life is commonplace. But having to sacrifice your life just to have the chance to fight Gigas? This was a decision that was hard to make, even knowing that to progress further in the game, it was a mandatory choice.
We had grown to love our heroes to a point that making the decision to sacrifice their lives for the greater good was one we weren't ready to make. We had lived their lives making the choices for them to help others, save friends and family, and kill every last spiteful crow we could. These were kids. Kids who before we intervened in their digital lives dreamed of playing baseball, liked helping their parents run a daycare, dreamed of being a great scientist like their dad, raised to lead as people. These kids that we grew to love and care about didn't deserve to die, and nothing in the game prepared us for having to make that choice before it was over.
But the choice had to be made. The story in the game must go on, or only Gigas would be the true victor. Once in our new shiny robot bodies, we slogged through the last dungeon to face off with the great oppressor himself, only to find our once upon a time best friend Pokey beside Gigas. We've kind of glossed over the original trio from the beginning of the game, and this was the return of one of Ness's oldest friends. While King turned out to be more of a scaredy cat than the brave dog we thought he was, Pokey was a different story. While investigating the meteor and meeting Buzz changed Ness's life for the better, Pokey decided to go another way.
You run into Pokey on and off throughout your journey, first as a member of the Happy Happy cult and the person responsible for Paula's abduction. In Forsyth, you run into Pokey again, living high on the hog due to his new consulting gig. This is the last that you see of Pokey, other than the random mentions by NPCs here and there, until you reach Gigas and see our dear friend at the right hand of our greatest enemy.
And while we defeat Gigas through an ingenious use of Paula's prayer ability, Pokey escapes only to send us a taunting letter through his brother telling us to come and get him. Will we see Pokey again? What will he get up to now? We won't find the answer in this game, but that isn't a disappointment. It's exciting because more of this amazing game could only be a good thing.
So it sounds like you really enjoyed playing Earthbound.
Yeah, I did. I think Earthbound definitely earned its place right next to Chrono Trigger and Final Fantasy VI. Yeah. It's not only some of the best JRPGs on the Super Nintendo, but some of the best JRPGs ever made.
Yeah, it's absolutely made the my top 10 list.
Yeah.
Since after playing it, it's an excellent game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. But will our next game crack that list?
We'll just have to wait and find out.
Thanks for watching our video. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we know you all are busy, and we love that you've taken time to hang out with us for a little while.
While you're here, why don't you check out some of our other videos we've made? You kind of owe us now.
And we have a website that you can browse through too, if you want to.
You can also check us out on Twitter and Facebook. All those links are right here, so it's easy.
If you want to see more stuff from us, go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already, and also leave this video a big thumbs up. That would be super awesome. Well, until next time, take care everyone.